Say please.
Gaming Bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in and sit right down. It's time for our final day of the G2A.com Dota Pit Season 5 LAN. And it's going to be a hell of a doozy. If you thought we had a lot of Dota the past 2 days, today it is going to be a serious amount of meta action. I'm Dakota Coddle Guy Cox back at the panel, and I'm going to be joined by a couple of friends right here. We have Lacoste, TI1 and TI2 competitor, and of course, Odie Pixel. Odie, were you even a part of Dota while this man was competing?
No, I mean, I remember you were in the free-to-play film, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I remember seeing him in that. That's where I first saw his face. But back at TI1, TI2...
Did you like it?
I was good, yeah. I liked it. It was like the interview bit, wasn't it, where they were asking for your comments.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what you said, but I remember the accent. But TI1, TI2, no, I was still on my kind of my games consoles on the TV, you know, playing your Marios.
Yeah.
I wasn't into the Dota yet. TI4. That was kind of TI3 when I came in, actually.
We have a little bit of the old, a little bit of the new.
We do.
It's great to have you gentlemen here. So here we are, last day of Dota Pit. It all comes down to this. A piece of that $125,000 plus prize pool going to be handed out by the end of today. It's going to be a bravo performance, I'm sure. So
Are we going to have that guy?
Oh, is he here?
maybe. We'll just have to wait and see.
Put your cans in the air.
I got some cans ready to go right now.
You got some bananas as well.
This guy's
And
been
bananas.
collecting serious bananas at this panel. All right, gentlemen, for anyone who happened to be kind of snoozing a bit over the past couple of days, or at least for yesterday, let's go ahead and have a bit of a recap as far as what went down. So we started, of course, with 8 competitors, or 8 teams, and now we've been whittled down to 6. Yesterday, it was the start, it was Faceless versus Evil Geniuses here. And if we got to remember, game number 1, Lacoste, the Black Pudge. It was amazing.
Yeah, I think it was the highlight of the game. His pudge was just amazing, even though it had, I think, 54% hook ratio. It was still good. I felt like all of his hooks were where it should have been.
You felt
like,
them?
Yeah, I
Right
felt
here.
them. Yeah, I'm a pudge player. I can feel it. And his name is Dominic as well, so that's
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
another connection. Yeah. Well, they made some really great plays. It's just hook into Sunstrike. Pretty much you're dead.
Yeah, it was obvious they may have come into that match, I kept saying, like almost premeditated, because if you had looked over Black's recent like pub games, he was like fiending Pudge up to that point. So EG kind of let that one happen. They had to take that one on the chin, but then going into game number 2, OD, we saw like a whole different story.
We did.
That's when we saw them set up that aggressive lane against Black Slark and got shut down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they kind of answered the problem with game 1 and game 2 straight away. I think they banned Pudge in the opening bans, and then suddenly Faces had to go back to something else. They went for the Slark. We'd seen it the other day. OG, No-Tail had great success with it. Maybe, you know, obviously it's one of the heroes that Black loves to play, but he might have looked at that and said, hey, look, OG can make it work, we can make it work, but EG was like, nah. And it was kind of, game 2 was what you expected from EG Faceless, but
Yeah.
obviously as the day went on, you know, Faceless kind of exceeded a lot of expectations.
Then we went into game number 3, and yet another Underlord coming out from EG. It's obvious they favor this hero significantly, and they really showed us why pretty much what we saw by the end of the day there. But for that particular game, pulled out the Underlord, pulled out the Chen, EG really flexing that 5-man push.
Yeah, they have an Ember Spirit as well. We shouldn't forget that. That's, I don't know how they even got those 3 picks combined together. But as we saw, Pit, I mean, Underlord and his Pit of Malice and his ultimate just TPing back to shrines and going back in again. You need like 20 seconds, full HP. Team just do another push. It's just so strong, and I think we're not going to see Underlord in EG's games anymore.
We'll have to see about that, of course, but I would definitely agree with you on that one. Now, that concluded the series. EG got to move on to the semifinals. Faceless unfortunately bumped down to start working their way through that lower bracket. Next series coming up was, of course, the exciting one everyone was looking forward to, Secret versus Digital Chaos. Now, game number 1, Secret accessed a 1-2 punch, Luna, Ember Spirit, OD, and yeah.
I mean, we already knew that mid 1 was great on the Ember from previous patches, MP as well, and the Luna. I mean, anyone that's kind of at this level that's a carry player, they're going to be able to play a pretty good Luna. MP's was absolutely fantastic, and Secret knew exactly what they were doing. They turned up to a matchup where a lot of people would have looked and said, well, you've got to kind of favor DC. They've got the recent track record. We don't really know too much about Secret, you know, coming onto this patch, but I mean, Secret's performance in that opening game of the series was like, okay, Secret know what they're doing. They've got a game plan. Puppy with his silencer build, you know, this kind of phase, Helm of the Dominator, something that you wouldn't have expected. Just going to show that Puppy can still come up with new stuff. And, you know, that didn't necessarily win them the game, but it's just refreshing to see Secret back with these new kind of plans and new approaches to the patch that we're not necessarily seeing other teams do.
Yeah, because coming into it, Secret, the only team here that had no competitive 7.0 experience, so we didn't know what they were going to be showing up to this tournament with, new ideas, just kind of working around what they've been seeing everyone else do at, you know, ESL Genting and such, but they had a little bit of both, Lacoste. So moving on from that game, we went to game number 2. That is when DC really began to turn it up. Resolution Terrorblade didn't even die that game.
Yeah, Terrorblade was free farming all game long, just TPing, killing tier 1 tower, just TPing bottom, killing tier 1 tower at bottom, just continuing, killing tier 2. It was just...
I see where this is going.
The farm, yeah, you can already see where this is going. It was just a farm game for Terrorblade, and he had a Shadow Demon as well for him. It's just massive illusions. And they had a Luna, they couldn't stop the push. I feel like in the a lot of teams lose the game on this tournament in the picking phase. Like they shoot themselves with the picks. They just don't have enough anti-push.
That became a lot more relevant in our later series of that day. But to round out that one at least, OD, for game number 3, DC were like, okay, we're going to pull out the Naga now. That's going to get us the win.
I mean, you could imagine in the drafts, you know, pick 3 and pick 4, Midge was like, oh, we got Cottle Naga. This is the easiest game ever. Because, you know, at ESL, first 2 picks, if they could get it, they would take it. And they would absolutely destroy your game because Naga would get farmed. Resolution would play it amazingly. The team would play brilliantly around it. But, I mean, that game, the team just crumbled all around him. You know, Resolution was still able to get decent farm, but it wasn't at the pace that he needed, and the rest of his team just suffered massively. We saw kind of halfway through the fact that all 4 of the rest of DC were behind. Pylai dies Dazzle. You know, Pi, sometimes he's a poor support. That game, he was feeling like better than DC's position too. It really was an absolute stomp. Huge train wreck. You got to give kudos to the decision to kind of put this PA Dazzle in the mid lane to just absolutely crush Weeheart at the start. You know, Ursa had to build Akile, had to fall back on items that he was not wanting to be building. And, you know, PA just destroyed the game. With the help of Slardar, the draft was perfect. And again, it's Secret doing something a little bit different. You know, who else is going to be picking a PA? You know, before this game, no one. Maybe after this game, we might see some other teams look towards it.
Yeah, they had a really good timing on their items and on the ganks. They smoked and killed Naga, I think, only once, and that was the game-changing point.
Yeah.
Just delayed that Radiance. Radiance didn't even come that late. It was around 20-minute mark, but still they couldn't find any kills on their supports. They had 1 kill until, I don't know, 20-minute mark, and the game was pretty much over then.
Yep, and with that secured win, that made Secret got to go up against a grudge match of EG in the semifinals. But before that, DC knocked down. That meant that they had to match up against Team Faceless in that scary best of 1. And if you remember, a real tough game for Moon there, only because he was pitted into that tri-lane as his Bat Rider.
Yeah, his Bat Rider was really shut down so hard. I don't think he even got one good lasso throughout the whole game. But Ice's Ice Magnus was really on point that game. I mean, he was practicing a lot, as we saw. He was doing really good in games against EG. But I hope we see this game as well.
They also had that PL, of course, the matchup in the mid lane against the Queen of Pain.
A little different.
Throwback. Yeah.
I mean, it really was. And it worked out. You know, there's that point as it went on, he kind of had heart, and he was this unkillable beast. And again, it's good to see teams showing this. And in this batch, you can make things viable that, you know, on paper or in consideration of other kind of captains' minds, they're like, that's not viable. But Faces just turn up, they bring something like that out, and it's incredibly devastating.
This is the experimentation phase, you know, for a lot of these teams, especially the top teams that maybe know they have a good chance of getting that invite coming up to the next major. You don't want to be going into the major just still trying to think of new ideas. You're looking to go into that major having game plans, having different formations and tactics ready to go. So this is the time to kind of experiment. Final series of yesterday, an epic one in itself. Secret versus EG. This was very intriguing, very centric around the drafting. Let's just start with game number 1. Secret had a freaking amazing start. Puppy's Weaver just nabbing the courier and 4 kills just like that.
Yeah, he picked up bottle, just running around, getting those runes, killing people, got an early medallion. But when EG manned up as 5 people, they just couldn't do anything. There was so much Underlord Gaming again. I don't know, these games were so one-sided, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was an outpick every single game. It was just, we could just see what's going to happen in all 3 games, just right after the picks.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of different things there, OD. I believe EG even attempted to do that Arteezy Legion Commander with Wisp off lane, and you're kind of like...
I mean, we kind of heard Ben Wu's comments on the drafting of
he was
ruthless. He was straight to the point, straight in on them. And you kind of had to agree. It looked, I mean, as we said already, we've seen teams experimenting yesterday, and for some teams it worked. That game, it didn't really work out for EG at all. But, you know, they learned their lesson. They tried it out, and at the end of the day, it worked out the whole, you know, the overall series. You know, they kind of got that game out of the way. It was an experimentational game, a game to kind of step back, do something wacky. Doesn't work out, it's fine. You pull it together in game 3.
Patch 7.0, you can have so much things that are unexplored yet. We still didn't discover how strong some heroes are. You need some time to adapt and see what other people are doing. Just try some stuff in pubs, like see what's good. It's still really new.
It is new. I'm hoping today we're going to get to see some new stuff as well. And on that note, let me go ahead and tell you what the schedule is for today. We have a lot of series for you, and we're going to be just trucking right through the lower bracket. Up first, we're going to have Virtus Pro versus Faceless in that best of one. Should be happening here soon. We actually already have 10 out of 10 players in the lobby, so draft could be underway any moment. After that match, we're going to be going into IG versus Secret in that lower bracket round 2 matchup. After that, of course, winner of game 1 will place winner of game 2 in our third round, and then we go right back up to the upper bracket where we're going to see OG take on EG. Super hype match there. And then to round things out, we go back to the lower bracket final, then back up again for the grand final. So guys, we have a best of one, best of one, best of one, best of 3, best of 1, best of 5 today. Are you ready to see some Dota?
Yes, we are. Today we're going to have the most games so far.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and start breaking down our very first series here, OD. Virtus Pro taking on Faceless. Virtus Pro, as we know, coming into this tournament, confident, tweeting out, we got this, no problem. Next thing you know, 0-11 Drow Ranger getting shut down.
Yeah,
now they find themselves
game.
in the lower bracket.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a place that, VP, I don't think they would have expected to find themselves down here and against Faceless, which I think, by all means, that plays massively to Faceless's strength. These are two teams where I think if you're Faceless, you've got so much more that you can look at from VP's history and kind of the heroes that they pick and the way that they play that gives them this advantage, whereas VP are looking at Faceless, and Faceless, as we saw yesterday, they're bringing stuff totally different into the box. And, the drafting element of this game is going to be very intense because I don't know how VP are going to shut down Faceless. I mean, I'm sure that they would definitely do or consider banning out the Pudge. I think in a best of one, you don't want to risk Black getting his hands on the Pudge because he's so strong with it. But other than that, I mean, where do you go if you're VP? It's very hard, I feel, in comparison to how Faceless can tackle banning out VP's heroes. Yeah,
anything else aside from the Pudge you think was something warranting a ban? We saw Jab's Invoker a lot, the Ice Magnus that you were mentioning, and even Rubik. They had been normally trying to snag for themselves, but had been banned against Faceless every game until that last series they were able to snag it. So anything else that seems to be very threatening from Faceless that Virtus Pro need to consider?
VP values Rubik a lot as well. They love to play it. Solo is really good on that one, and I love his build, how he builds it. He just tanks up a bit, Tranquil Boots, Magic Wand, gets 1-2 bracers with his aura. He just can't die in a fight.
OD, if you had to put together, and it actually looks like we have a draft, so we're going to have answers here in a moment. We'll go ahead. If you could build together the perfect Virtus Pro draft to be able to take it to Faceless, what would we be seeing here?
I mean, I'd like to see the Lil Weaver, even though he's had a little less kind of success with it recently. Like, I definitely recall recently seeing games where they pull it out and it doesn't work out as well as it did initially when VP started doing it, catching everyone off. It's still something that they can utilize very well. I'd like to see no one kind of sit on his kind of tower pushing mids like the DK, something that's very hard for the team to deal with. I'd love to see them have a strong support combination to back it up. SD, Dazzle, something that's going to allow VP to just group together, push down lanes. If they get Ramses on a Luna or a Lifestealer, I think they're going to be very happy, two of his comfort heroes. And then Pasha, arguably as well, Pasha I feel is one of the kind of star performers recently on this patch. He's had some really good games on this current patch and very versatile as well. I mean, you can put him on a Nyx Assassin, any sort of big initiator. And I think VP, they can be all right if they get these heroes. It just depends how much homework Faceless has done, because they may have the answers for VP's style of playing.
I expect from VP strong lanes, strong early and strong mid game when they can gather as 5 and just dictate the tempo of the game.
Would you say Virtus Pro is much more high tempo than a team like Faceless is?
Yeah, if VP just goes as 5 at one point, they barely throw the game. If they have an advantage, I don't think they ever throw the game. They're just that experienced.
That's true.
And if you see a VP fighting, they're just their fights last for like a minute. They go in, they go out. No, none of them dies. Maybe that's why they have a lot of heroes that have a lot of heal, like Omni Knight Ward. Omni Knight heal. They love to play it offlane, and Juggernaut as well. Have one mech carrier as well, pretty much all the time.
Yeah. Also the Underlord as well, got to remember. Something that's normally banned out against VP because Pasha, we saw ESO Genting, he does play it, very good on it as well. So another hero that Faceless maybe even looking to ban in the first opening phase. But then if you're banning Pudge and Underlord, it just leaves so much open for VP to take their kind of pick from. So yeah, the opening bans I think are going to be very interesting.
Another big hero to look out for, and something that posed a big problem to Virtus Pro in their last series, is the Earth Spirit. Faceless do have an Earth Spirit player, as do Virtus Pro. Lil has picked it from time to time. Is there going to be enough value in the hero that you see it warrants a first phase ban or pickup? Or
It's going to be banned or picked in the first phase because both of the players are really good on Earth Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, Ramses is kind of going to have memories, very bad memories indeed of the Earth Spirit from that yesterday. But yeah, that was Jerax, and you probably say he's the best. Would you say he's the best Earth Spirit player here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt it's all there. Yeah, for sure. So maybe they're a little less so concerned against the side of Faceless, but yeah, it would be refreshing to see Faceless put that out, see how they do perform. As you said, it was something they did a lot in the recent qualifiers 4 days before this for Star Series. So
I'm looking to see a mid matchup. What's going to happen on mid? I think no one is a bit better player than Jabs. And he has a higher hero pool overall. And if he gets a hero that has an upper hand, I think it's pretty much one-sided.
So when do you think at that point then the natural intention for Faceless would be to help rally behind Jabs? I don't know if that means they need to get a support to babysit or to help, the aggression there and keep no one in check and out from the lane. Is that something they're just going to have to consider now in their draft?
If they get the hands on Earth Spirit, who's really mobile and he can try to gank mid lane, but VP are so experienced in that. They read their enemy's movement so good. So I think they're going to know what's going to happen. They just protect no one really good.
Yeah,
and no one has really great map awareness. It's really hard to gang him. His positioning in team fights and in general in mid lane is so well.
Looks like we are going to give it a third try here as far as jumping into the draft. So we'll hope it's going to be loading up here. I did want to ask like a bit of a personal question, or maybe for any Visage lovers out there that don't really know what's happening. You had mentioned Lil signaturally known for a lot of his support Weaver, but we knew him a lot for his Visage, but people had been saying that when 7.0 first dropped, Visage was seeming way too OP, so they turned him back a bit. But did they turn him back a bit too far? Lukas, are you a Visage player at all?
No, but
he likes to win his games.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think he's a bit over nerfed.
Yeah, seems like the case, especially someone like Lil's not going to be playing it, but who knows? But we have a draft, bans are underway, let's get into it right now, and without a doubt, Virtus Pro right off the bat, no Pudge, sorry, you're not going to, who do you think we are?
Yeah, no surprises there at all, and of course with the two bans from Faceless, Pasha, very strong off lane. Starter playing, of course, it's a hero that Lil can also pull out in that position as well. Shadow Demon is pack 701, no surprises there. VP, the question is with the second ban, as you mentioned, do they look towards Earth Spirit? Is that something that they're worried about?
I'm looking at
Underlord too.
Underlord and Luna. I mean Underlord and Ember Spirit, sorry.
Bang on.
Okay, Underlord is out. So Faceless with the advantage here on their first pick.
I think Ember Spirit is going to be first picked.
For Faceless?
Yes.
Certainly could be.
I mean, if they don't take it, it might be likely that Virtus Pro could grab it for themselves.
Or they could just go for the Nuts Witch Doctor, as we've seen them do. But they go for the Rubik.
Yeah, they've been really loving the Rubik, and as mentioned, normally had been banned against them. Virtus Pro, no hesitation with their 1-2 punch, go right into the Lifestealer and pick up the Ogre.
Yeah, I mean, Ogre, I think he was actually back at Boston. The Ogre was banned out, I mean, in lots of games, but literally against VP, it was, I believe, the support that they would have banned against them the most. It was, there's something about VP and the Ogre that they're very good at using it with their cores.
Well, Ogre scales really good at late game as well, through mid game. He's good at early game as well. Because of that Bloodlust on your carry and mid hero. Especially that there was a lot of OD games back then.
Now, we were talking about it a lot. It is going to be Faceless that grab up the Earth Spirit here. It's not against any sort of Ramses Drow, though, so not going to have that ability to kind of just close the gap and get in the face and kind of perplex Ramses. He has a man fighter now, if you will, in the Lifestealer. So this is just kind of help out the other thing we were mentioning and assisting the mid lane, perhaps, and making sure no one's kind of kept in check a little bit so that Jabs can get that extra assistance.
Yeah. If you see the bans coming out from VP, there's a Pudge and Beaver and Magnus. I think they did their homework.
So they super targeted,
They don't want to risk anything.
Good respect there. Now, looking and thinking about some of the core options here for Faceless, I mean, there's always the trusty Jug
10
still in
seconds
there.
remaining.
But what do you think about Jug as a man fighter over someone like a Lifestealer?
We saw
5 seconds remaining.
Faceless playing Juggernaut yesterday. I don't think it worked out for them too well.
Yeah, it was
He
the game Black played Jug
Yes.
against, was it the EG?
You think it was
game?
EG?
Oh, yeah, well, they were kind of holding on, but yeah, overall EG did.
Dire
But
team pick.
I mean, already with these bans from Faces, looks like they're opening for a potential OD in the mid lane.
Radiant
Yeah,
team
banning out the Sniper, banning out the Shadow Fiend.
That's a great pick, the Darkseer, only because I felt like that also could have been a deny pick to Faceless. I could have seen Faceless just as easily grab
I
that.
think they're gonna pick Nyx Assassin now. They value it a lot.
That's
For
true.
their offlane. ISSI is
10
really
seconds
good on
remaining.
that hero. They banned his Magnus, so I think it's gonna be this one,
5
especially versus
seconds
Darkseer.
remaining.
Nyx, OD if they want to pick up that
Reserve
mid lane
time.
pickup.
I mean, the only other kind of signature Ice Ice hero would be like a Timber, but I definitely would put more favor in the Nyx, as you mentioned. And we haven't even seen, I don't think, Ice Ice Timber this tournament yet. I'm going to start thinking a little farther ahead as we see Faceless kind of thinking a bit, but Jab's Tinker. We did get to see it once, but I wasn't as impressed as everyone was letting it up to be. That could have been the fact that he was just kind of pitted in a bit of a difficult game.
It was-
Could we,
yeah, it was
could we
tough.
see Faceless consider revisiting that?
It was a game against who? EG?
I think it was in the EG
EG.
series, wasn't it?
Dire
Well,
team
Samael was playing out of his mind that
Oh,
game.
yeah, it
it
was the
was really,
TI.
he had to
Yeah.
go
Yeah, it was the
go
TI.
to the forest, had really late BOTs. Centaur, that's an interesting
Yeah, no
pick.
Nyx, the Centaur. Obviously great for maybe the disengage if you got a Lifestealer on your backside. Great for the engage as well.
What we're looking from Virtus Pro is something they can combine Lifestealer with, some kind of initiation.
reserve
I mean, VP may even pick up the Nyx Assassin themselves. Yeah, Pasha's very strong. Oh, I guess no, sorry, the Darkseer is unlikely. So we're still looking for two.
They're going to need that vehicle, that some sort of
Yeah.
initiation. I don't know if like we're going to be falling back into some sort of like no one puck or anything like that, but they are going to need someone to try to get the Lifestealer more into the battle. I think Storm Spirit, especially after yesterday's showing, might not be really at the forefront of everyone's mind.
Well, it was a third pick, Storm Spirit. I didn't think it worked out.
Chen will be coming out
Radiant
here.
team pick.
We saw a little bit of that yesterday in the hands of EG, so maybe Virtus Pro kind of taking a page from that one and going into more extra lane aggression and to kind of counter back the potential lane aggression that Faceless are going to be digging out with that Earth Spirit.
Yeah, I like the Chen pick because Virtus Pro, if they get an advantage, they're not going to blow it up. So they want to just have a strong early to mid game. And they are, with this pick, trying to end the game probably in 30, 35 minutes.
Yeah. And there's still good mid laners for no one to have in this lineup.
They want
for
to,
that.
they want to see what Faceless is going to pick so they can counter it if it's going to be a mid hero.
Yeah, having that final pick is going to be very nice here
Yeah.
for VP.
So
Maybe
do you...
Faceless, maybe Invoker, they'll have to play it.
Yeah, they have played also Invoker. I mean, I mentioned how they have a couple great Invoker players on the team, at least 3 between Jabs. We know Black to play lots of Invoker back on his time at VG Gaming, and then even before that, Daryl, Ice, of course, used to rep tons of Invoker play back in the day.
I love how in Team Faceless they swap around roles.
Yeah.
If they pick Pudge, their carry player Black is going to play it. We only seen that from who else? Team Liquid. They do it sometimes, Matumba Man and Kuroki.
Back in your day, TI1, TI2, would you ever imagine like roles being swapped around as
Yeah,
much? I
yeah.
don't remember as relevant. Was it as relevant back then?
Yeah, we were doing it back
You were doing
then.
it back then?
yeah.
Okay, so you're an innovator. Okay, cool. All right, Lacoste, we get it. You're cool.
Ember Spirit?
Ember Spirit somehow just finds its way all the way through the draft.
I
till
mean,
now.
it's good. If you look at VP, that they don't really have any ways of locking him down very, very accurately. I mean, yeah, there's a Fire Blast, a little bit from the vacuum and the chain creeps, but Ember, yeah, could certainly play his way around it. But of course, VP will have that final kind of pick and response.
We'll have something to lock down the Ember
Yeah,
Spirit.
they
they are
need it.
definitely not. Yeah, they don't have anything to kind of keep him in his place. So it's going to be a bit intriguing here. No one Invoker? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
looking at.
Yeah,
Definitely.
but then you don't really have that thing for Lifestealer. Chen creeps, I guess, with Surge. But outside of that,
Ogre with Blink.
Yeah, Ogre with Blink. Yeah, Darkseer with Blink, but I guess it depends how much they weigh towards assisting their own lineup or taking it to the Ember Spirit for that final pick. But
We've seen some mid matchups. Ember versus Invoker. Some Invokers tend to play Quas Wax, some goes for Exort, and it was really different every time. Like sometimes Ember won, sometimes Invoker won. But I think overall, if you play Quas Wax, it's the best build to play early game against Ember Spirit. If both players are equal in terms of skill.
Seconds remaining.
What Black will pick it. I mean, it's looking to be Black's last hero.
5
Yeah,
seconds
Black,
remaining.
we've been seeing.
Let's see him pull out the anti-mage. Let's go. Let's do it.
Just for old time's sake.
For old time's sake.
A black
Or
classic.
maybe he feels tempted to try the Slark out again.
I don't think Slark works
I mean, against
out
this
well
kind of
for
push, yeah.
Faceless.
Yeah.
I mean,
it may
I
not
saw
look like it fits, but it's Black. He might just give me Slark. No,
Oh.
Clinks. I actually was like, when we saw the Chen pick,
I
I was
believe you.
I was
I
like
believe
thinking
you
a bit.
got
I'm
that.
like, God, what do you think about Clinks? Because then you have the free
Dragon Knight.
creep to take away from Virtus Pro. They do go with that, and then Virtus Pro round things out with the Death Knight or the Death Knight,
Death Knight?
the Dragon
right.
Knight, the holy duo, if you will, the Dragon Knight Chen. That used to be, that has been relevant in Dota for a long, long time. But all right, guys, there's the draft. What do you think? Predictions for our very first lower bracket elimination match?
They've got some lockdown now in Dragon Knight with that dragon tail, so they're good. I overall love Virtus Pro pick because they have everything. They have really strong early game, and they have a good mid game as well. They have a good push, so I think they're gonna take down towers really easily.
Yeah, VP's lineup, we kind of talked about it before, if they were going to get what they wanted to get. This is them getting what they wanted to get. So if Faceless are able to take down VP in this game one, this is VP in their final form. You know, it's going to be insane if Faceless can beat this, because I think it's just going to be very, very difficult, because VP have such a solid lineup.
Well, we'll have to see how things pan out. Why don't we go ahead and send things over to our onside casters here in-house. It's going to be Toby, Juan, and Fog. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, Dakota. It is that time. Faceless versus VP. We are starting the run of our best of ones. We eliminated one team each day so far in Dota Pit, but today they all must go. It's like a rug sale. Welcome, Fogged.
Hello, Tober.
Such a dick. Well, okay, so VP, man, it's the lineup we were looking at. We were talking about the draft. The only thing which we kind of didn't poke at was the potential clinks which came in from Faceless. But the pick seems to fit this draft perfectly. Especially up against the Chen. We were tossing up, like, was it going to be like the potential Slark initiation, given that early bit of rotation? Was it going to be potentially the Juggernaut? But clinks up against the Chen, always a nice day, right?
Yeah, Clinks against Chen is nice. Also versus the Darkseer, you're not dealing with the harassment of the Ion Shells. You can kind of leave the Clinks alone versus the Darkseer too, and let your Rubik and your Earth Spirit kind of roam around and do their own thing. So I do like this Clinks pickup a lot. It's just it's a bit different, so we'll see if it ends up working for them, because it is I guess you could say a little greedy. Their timings are not as early as VP, which has a very straightforward Death Ball timing. Dakota. Yeah, I think like you look at VP and you're like, yeah, this is cookie cutter VP. This is exactly what they've been doing for the past couple months.
30 seconds.
But that was also one of the weaknesses, right, of VP. Like, there was a lot of discussion around Boston Major. Like, did VP become too predictable? And Faceless are a team who have already proved so far in this tournament that they definitely have what it takes. Like, if they can get the upper hand, if they can get the better timings in the draft, and the better heroes they want in the draft, they can just walk over a team.
Yeah.
They've done it twice already, and one they eliminated DC.
Very hard to walk over Darkseer Dragon Knight Chen, though. This is super early game, mid game oriented, and it transitions very well with all the auras that will be getting picked up. Ramses skills the rage to make sure that he does get that top rune, so Ice does go for the hoof stomp to try to grab that one.
That Nuss didn't try and control no one, because he could have telekinesis thrown the DK back for the bounty rune if he really wanted to.
Yeah, 3 bounty runes claimed by VP from that aggressive Darkseer Ion Shell positioning on the Dragon Knight. And nice deep ward coming out for Faceless, at least, so they're going to be able to watch Leo's movement in the early game in the enemy jungle.
And Ice is... He's going to be an absolute pain in the butt to Ramses. Obviously, Ice was a huge, big name in yesterday's matchup with his Magnus play, panned out today. But with this Centaur, quick, easy pulls, and just going to bypass Ramses. Did you actually block up the camp?
He blocked his own big camp, huh?
Thought that would have actually been, like, because he's just got this deeper Radiant Observer ward.
He just wants to watch the Chen rotations, but as we say, it's instant Chen rotation bottom, Ion Shelled creep. Nuts goes for the zoning and just gets caught off guard.
Catch the end of that one, and VP off to a good start, and they're off lane.
Old approach that VP used to do to help out Pasha a bit, send out the Chen or the Enchantress to help him, and this time it is a Chen. So very early rotation coming out from Lil, no hesitation.
And there wasn't much that Black can do about it. Doesn't really pump out that much damage even with the Searing Arrows until he can get the strafe up and running. But yeah, VP. Good presence from a Chen with the rotation. That's what you're always looking for with the Chen.
Yeah, pretty surprising how well that first rotation comes out. They even put a ward now too, so they're getting vision of the supports, and maybe we'll just see them try to go for their own type of rotations and just leave Black to his own devices. As we say that, we do see Nuts doing that cheeky pull, or attempting to do the pull into the tower, and he's just going to farm the Alpha Wolves there.
Easy levels, easy money if you can keep it up.
Top lane, Ice, getting the pressure put on him. Doesn't have the hoof stomp.
And Ramsey's taking a lot of damage from the tower. He needs to switch the aggro off him. Centaur needs one more punch from Solo, but Solo won't have the movement speed for it. So Ice can just move over, trigger the shrine, and get back into the lane. He's also got a little bit of help with the Earth Spirit. A good rollover will catch Ramsey down. He does have Rage available, but if you can get the kick, no, he can't. Or the hit, but he cannot. There's still a level 1 Earth Spirit.
Yep. Lil gets a haste rune, bullying out Nuts out of the jungle. Yeah, that was really important that VP does go for that type of aggressive move onto the Centaur. They saw that he's out of mana. They have a double creep wave coming in on him. They don't want him to get free last hits under the tower. So it's very important that they do go for those type of zoning maneuvers when he does have so many creeps under his tower. 3 heroes sitting around the mid lane, both supports and the Ember Spirit. So as we kind of expected, after that first blood, they just leave Black on his own. He does perfectly fine versus Darkseer. It's an old school matchup we used to see, the Clinks Darkseer.
Yeah, just keep your distance and you'll be fine. Nuts and XY, they're going to head up towards the top lane now. See if they can combine up with Ice. Ice has been pretty aggressive on the top lane already, so him moving up like this isn't too much of an indication to VP.
Still a level 1 Earth Spirit. Would be much easier if they have level 2, but Solo might get caught off guard on this one, but it looks like he is going to.
The Shadow Blast going to help him out as well. You still got the double edge of Ella for Ice, so there is more than enough damage to kill off the Yoga Magi.
And Earth Spirit gets his 2 as well from the creeps dying there, so gets the Boulder Smash as well, and more than enough setup in order to bring down Solo, who's out of mana as well pretty much when they went on that.
The creep skipping has begun. Pasha surges his way forward in towards Black. Now his surge is obviously going to be down in Black with the Searing Arrows and the creep wave behind it. It's not enough to kill off Pasha, but Pasha is low enough that he's going to move up to the shrine and trigger it.
Oh, Shrine makes it so much more lovely for Darkseer in this type of matchup.
Especially when he creep skips like that.
Yeah, he's getting pressured though by Black. Black knows this matchup. He's done it a million times, the Clinks versus Darkseer, so he knows whenever he goes for those type of split ups, instead of always taking all the last hits on the tower, you drag it into the Darkseer as well, so you can harass him while you last hit rather than just trading farm.
I wonder if Jabs was looking for that rune. He went at the 4-minute mark down to the bottom rune area, but doesn't find it. It's the regeneration rune up on the top.
I haven't really glanced at the mid lane much. I'm pretty sure it's mostly 1v1 coming out from these two, and no one is, as always, as a Dragon Knight, even versus an Ember Spirit, which is not the most favorable matchup. He's just doing perfectly fine, leading the CS board.
He'll wait until the rest of VP is online and ready to fight with him. Unless someone from Faces wants to force an issue, and they actually ping out. It's like Nuts reveal himself in the mid lane. This seems to be a really good start for VP. Everything goes according to plan before the Death Ball begins.
Yeah, Ice getting a lot more than I thought he actually would in this offlane though. Doing that first initial pull with the creeps. He got his level 1, then he just messes up the equilibrium a lot, and he's almost level 5 now on the Centaur, which is very impressive for him. They're going for the chase now on him though.
With phase boots up on Ramses, he can really close that distance quickly. Solo's got an extra stun to lend. He'll wait until it's over, and maybe that's a little bit too long because the kick's able to connect Solo up the hill, but they're already away. And meanwhile, Jabs actually gets killed off. We saw the initial smoke on our screens, which was just the Centaur and the Darkseer combining up, so it's like they end up killing off the Ember Spirit.
Kind of surprised he got caught by it, because it looked like they were pinging out the Darkseer in their own jungle, like knowing that he was going to go for that type of move, but very nice Centaur with the Ion Shells right before the Ember Spirit hits 6, just getting caught out. And it looks like it may happen again, but Jabs does get his 6 now.
He's getting really aggressive with a rolling boulder forward from XY. They might find both of them in a bad position, so no one will die. The question is, can Lil punish them for it? You got double stomps available, but you got to hit the right targets. With the silence out, a little bit more difficult. The stomp catching 2, Nuts will also arrive, picking up Solo, pulling him back in. The Centaur still causing a little bit of a buffer between VP and Faceless. The Faceless get the kill, and they will bail out.
Yeah, no one underestimating a little bit of that burst potential from the Ember Spirit. As soon as he hits 6, they go on the aggressive. So nice rotation coming out right away by
Dire's middle tower
X and
is
Y.
under attack.
Something else to keep in mind too is the fact that Ice is rapidly approaching his 6. So these fights are going to change up a lot more once Stampede becomes a factor.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing incredibly well.
Maybe that's why they're trying to force this again. Like, no one goes into Dragon form, Ember Spirit, the Stomps around, they're going to keep that chain going. His shield doesn't protect him long enough. Jabs, where's the Spirit? Runs up, moves over, but VP knew exactly where to go. The Searing Chains interrupts for half a second, but no one still gets the last attack out, so Jabs down once again, no defensive Spirit up, caught on the wrong side of the river.
That's what happens when you commit, the triple Spirit for the kill. He only had one up there, and it came up a bit too late, getting very nicely chain stunned, though, by VP. Pasha clearing Ancients with Ion Shell. Trying to find anywhere that he can get a little bit of bonus of farm.
He needs a little bit of help from Chen to make it work.
Lil's going for Dominator as well, so he's going to have that extra creep that we haven't seen Chen's do. And now we do see Clinks with his level 8 now. He's got his Soul Ring online. Looks like he's going to be going for that first rotation. Death Pact creep. And
Yeah. He needs to get in and stop the Chen from just freely taking creeps left, right, and center. But he doesn't actually start with his Death Pact.
It's kind of a hard kill, doing it just on his own. But we do see the Earth Spirit kind of making the rotation down. Will he be able to go for Lil? Looks like he wants to. Earth Spirit's coming in, so is Rubik.
They just wait for it. There's your Searing Arrows, but he needed to take care of the Centaur. Quick dusting, Santa Blast as well, but they're all a little bit too far out.
And Black getting some pressure on him. He should be just fine with the dust wearing off in just a couple moments. Good amount of pressure, though, on him, and he's okay.
They commit Stampede as well. I think that was actually to help Black get away.
Yeah, it was I think all three of them kind of used it, because he got slowed top lane, and Black was going to chase that bottom. Lil,
yeah, they go in aggressive with the kick. Black able to get the damage out. Pasha going to surge himself away. Nuts is too far away to get the extra grab. So Pasha will get back to the tier 1 tower. Looked like Lil just had a little bit more confidence. His Centaur was just about to get enough mana to go for another stomp.
Yeah. Playing Chen versus Clinks is very difficult just to get used to it. You just have to go for that, group up, which is very nice that they have the Dragon Knight and the Darkseer for that. So once Darkseer has mech, we'll probably see them go for like a 4-man unit and then just have Ramses port in afterwards. But
Well, Pasha's almost got it.
Dire's middle tower.
He's already got the 2 big pieces.
they're already grouping up. Shrine is up in 2 seconds. Here we go. And make the pressure on the safe lane. That tower's are dead, actually. They need to go somewhere else.
Bottom tower has fallen.
Yeah, so with that tower gone, what is the point of this push in? You're going to try and secure up in the Radiant jungle? You're losing out on
Dire's
mid lane in
middle
the meantime.
tower is under attack.
It's also something I was expecting Black to be a little bit more proactive with. Moving around between the mid tower as well as the top tower. Just forcing it down. The Clinks is amazing at bringing down buildings if he only had the mana pool.
Yeah, I think it's very important for him to actually do that. They don't really have anyone else who hits towers besides him. I mean, they have their turn, you could say, on the Centaur,
Dire's
but
top tower is under
definitely the
attack.
Clink's the one who's going to be dealing with the objective taking. Here we go, VP. Grouped up mid lane. Mech is at the base for them, so they don't have it just yet on their heroes.
They just de-ward the sentry, so Black knows he can't run in. And actually, they're going to take out the Observe Ward too. He knows he can't just run into the mid lane.
This is good too by Lil. Instead of getting like Centaur creeps and everything, he picks up the little Satyr. Satyr Banisher versus Ember Spirit, probably one of the best because you just instantly purge off the Flame Guard. He's unable to really fire Remnant if he doesn't have it preemptively down. Just makes it a pain for him.
Surging no one forward. He was looking for the Dragon Tail stun.
Radiant structures
Didn't have
are
Breathe Fighter
fortified.
combo straight away, and in fact, they're going to fortify up. Black is still not here to fight. In fact, it really looks like Faces are just playing delay tactics. They don't want to engage into this VP lineup.
I think it's smart. They have the Rubik they're spamming out. That's really the only hero that can actually do anything. Earth Spirit's getting his level 6, which he has now, and Black's looking to go for an aggressive play onto Ramses. The Rage is there, though,
Radiant's
so
middle tower has fallen.
very hard for them to go for that.
Yeah, and with the Infest, Ramses is out. So that's the second tier 1 tower claimed by Virtus Pro. I know this isn't that bad as long as you're getting farm on your Clinks, because Clinks can just jump in behind the towers and take out tier 1 towers whenever the hell he wants to.
Yeah, Clink's getting a good amount of farm. Even XY getting a good amount of farm on this Earth Spirit. He's got 1,000 gold on him with boots, almost level 7 on this Earth Spirit, because they recognize we can't really defend the tier 1 there. It's pretty much impossible. We just have to delay it as much as possible and let Ice get his Blink Dagger, which he's also kind of close to, like 800 gold or so.
That's a lot of patience coming out from Faces, understanding that you can take the hit. Observer Ward, Lil just puts down the sentry as well. So if Black walks into this, he will be very, very visible. And Lil, he actually started his attack. So yeah, Black realizes what's going on and quickly scutters himself away.
I'd like to see Black actually have a Blightstone instead of like the Iron Branch. It actually increases the damage potential of Searing Arrows by quite a high margin. But we'll see what he opts to go for, what he build he wants to do. If it's the Desolator.
I think it was like Melini was looking for that from him yesterday too. Was that a quick way to bring down buildings when he played his Phantom Assassin?
Yeah, because they have to be able to do something to get at least like some pressure on the tier 1s rather than just, you know, trying to play this delay game. I think they should be split pushing a little bit harder, especially when so many heroes on the side of VP shows. And here we go, top tower. This is without DK's form being used. So the next tower is going to be the pressure onto the tier 2s with the mech and the Dragon Knight form. But, oh, nice little deny there coming out from Black.
Yeah, he was waiting for that. So the tier 1 towers will all drop. But the farm still continues.
They can definitely go for fights now on Faceless. They've got all their level 6. I believe that they're just waiting for the Blink Dagger, which is about 200 gold away, but Veil's going to be coming out at the same time. They've got level 6 on both their Rubik and the Earth Spirit. I think it's go time for them pretty soon once that Blink comes out.
She's just double checking our talent trees too, so Live Sealer. Didn't go for the attack speed, went for the stats instead. It's hard to wonder, like, is it actually better to get the attack speed over stats? With it just being +5 at level 10?
I like the +5. I think I see Ramses usually go for the +5 stats as well.
Alright, so into the mid lane. Push it down. It's been one of our more passive starts to early games that we've had in this tournament.
I think Black needs to not be running around just so much. I think he's spending a little bit too much time rather than hitting buildings. These tier 1s are very important just to read the movement of VP, like how you know where they're going to set up for the next tower. If tier 1s aren't there, it makes it a lot easier for you to know which tower they're going to go for next. But
maybe
Black
he's just more
continues
concerned he's going to die. Maybe that's what's sitting in the back of his mind. Jabs, you need to really get out of this mid lane. Like, at least he managed to kill off the Purge Creep. They do some decent damage to the tier 1 tower. They force rotations out from Virtus Pro, and this is now the time when Black can push without any kind of opposition. And Ice has the money for the Blink Dagger on bot lane.
Yep. And Black does pick up the Blightstone, but it's at base, so he doesn't have it on him still, but he's going for that Desolator build.
He actually changed.
No, now he's going for Dragonlance. Okay, well, he's changing it up really. He still has the Blightstone at base. I'm not sure why he doesn't have it on him, just wanting to hold on to that Iron Branch, but either way, this is where we see VP grouping up 5 men into the enemy jungle, going for that tower pressure, and I think Faceless can still fight into it. There is the mech online for VP, but they have an enormous amount of team fight with this Veil. Insane amount of magic burst potential and control.
Here they come. 4-man smoke down. Dragonforce being committed by VP with a double damage rune on the Dragon Knight. This is a hard time for Faceless to fight in. No one's going to be hitting like an absolute truck. Plus, you've got great control from the Chen army behind the lines. They jump in, you get the hoof stop with double-edged Dragon Knight, tanks through a lot of it, stampeding him forward. Where's this extra damage? The Darkseer wall is down, and Earth Spirit's in a real world of hurt. So much damage, so much sustain. Out from Virtus Pro, and Jabs wants to run out this one with the Spirit defense. He's actually got the distance on him. Ramses, no open wounds, no rage. Won't be able to find that kill on the Ember Spirit, but you don't care. You just took the first fight against a Blink Daggering Centaur. Didn't lose your tier 1 tower on top lane, and you took the tier 2 tower on bot.
I think that fight was really important for Faceless to have success in it, but the fight's not over. Jabs ports into the shrine. It looks like they want to keep making the aggression happen. Ice stun off the mark.
He thought they were going to run down. Instead, they stayed up and off to the right. Home. So now, no one. He will be sent back out again. Yeah. Solo will be the sacrifice in typical VP fashion.
I think that's perfectly fine for VP. They got exactly what they wanted. A little bit of a weird initiation coming out for Faceless. Ice tried to go to emphasize onto the Dragon Knight, but fighting into a DD Dragon Knight with Armlet is a bit scary already. It was very hard for them to get into the back lines because of that Lifestealer, Dragon Knight, Ogre just standing it super heavy in the front lines. It's like, okay, we have to try to get to this Chen and Darkseer, but they're so tanky as well, and there's so much to deal with in those, just the front of the tower. So a little bit of a weird initiation coming out of them, but BP coming out on top for sure.
I love this item build coming in from Pasha. So he's looking at a Blink Dagger as his next major item. Most Darkseers we've seen have actually completely bypassed the Blink Dagger over more sustain items. But in this, they get probably their best jump and initiator next to the DK.
Uh-oh, XY. Not where you want to get caught here, walking up to try to go for a very aggressive move, just walking into the high ground. And Ramsey's there to get The slow Ice, trying to put some pressure on the tower.
And he's got Blink Dagger as well as Stampede available. But he doesn't have a TP scroll. It's on cooldown for the moment. Another 22 seconds before he can use it.
So Black has his Dragonlance finished up.
So he's got the Dragonlance sitting in his backpack.
Yeah.
And the Blightstone sitting in his actual inventory.
Ramses looks like they want to try to make a go at the Earth Spirit coming in. Does he get the silence before the Rage? He does. Do they have enough damage to bring him down? He's armlet toggling. He gets kicked away. He doesn't actually kick the stone to go for the stun onto Ramses, so a bit of a mistake. And Ice trying to use his Stampede to survive, but he gets brought down alone by Lil.
I think he tried to go for the hit on the tower.
That was a solo kill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, triple Mud Golem.
Yep. So he jumped in on top of the tier 1 tower because he's still sitting behind it, never used that TP scroll. So loses the life, Stampede's down, which means VP are going to feel very confident to continue this push.
Yeah, they've got DK ult up again. He's got a Haste Rune as well, so not a DD this time, but I think Haste is just as good, if not better. So this is just another clean 5-man tower bring down. Wouldn't be surprised if they just continue to go toward the mid lane since it's already so pushed out, and Ramses is already situated there. So this could look like it could be the Shrines already at risk pre-20 minutes.
This does not seem like the faces we saw winning yesterday.
No, definitely not.
There doesn't seem to be purpose to this lineup at the moment. Like, you want to start your push. The fact that there were still so many tier 1 towers up this far into the game doesn't seem that right. Like, I understand they were waiting for their timing to fight, but then they also fought into a very visible double damage on a Dragon Knight.
Yeah, you know how VP plays. They emphasize heavily on no one in the mid lane. They will always make the rotation to help him. Top lane, Ice, forced to use Stampede away to get away. Does have the blink to try to go for a type of initiation.
He's got no hoof stomp though. He's already committed it.
But yeah, they help out no one so much in mid lane. You would expect Black to be the one to kind of go around and make the plays happen, but I don't feel like they're involving this Clinks. They picked the Clinks last pick to have this nice bam, we have a Clinks here, but he's just kind of running around, not really having much of an impact. Just trying to find creeps and get his farm, but has a Dragonlance. He has the most net worth on his team, and he's just...
Oh, Pasha. The blink allows him to go up. He dodges the rolling boulder forward as well. You've still got the Chen army to create a little bit more space here for the Darkseer too. Nut's going to surge up Ice, but he doesn't find the target. Ice, again, looking for these very blind prediction style blink into hoofs. But while they're wasting time up there, the rest of VP are doing their push. No Dragon Form committed, and look at that rune sitting in the bottle of no one. It's another double damage rune in the DK.
And they're taking the tier 2 without even using Elder Dragon Form. It's up in about 5 seconds. Here we go.
That's
time
all
for the
tier 2's
Shrines.
gone. That took under 19 minutes to remove all the tier 2 towers of Faceless. And Black's looking for some kind of reaction. Bottom lane with the strafe and searing arrows.
He's got the Shadow Blade. They did see the Ion Shell burn damage and the TP, of course, so they are able to get away from that one. They do claim themselves a tier 1 and a half damage on a tier 2, but don't think that's enough to deal with what VP is bringing at you right now.
You know it's a hard day when Faces have to fortify to keep their Shrine alive from Chen creeps. There's a lot more support sitting behind this.
They want to fight this. They've got the wraparound from Ice. He's very low, though. Like,
they don't see enough.
Yeah, they have 1/3 HP on the Centaur. There's no way they can go for this engagement.
How do you take this as well? Like, it's just Ramsey showing himself at the moment, but Pasha's right behind. The entire team is behind. It's a full trap. The blink back wall, absolutely perfect from Virtus Pro. 2 heroes down. A stun not there in time. The Earth Spirit will TP out, but the Shrine is taken. And Jabs has to turn this into the shady backstabbing bot lane push just to get VP to turn around.
Not feeling the teamwork come out from Faceless at all today. Ice was farming jungle. He's sitting at like 1/3 HP. They know the Shrine is being attacked. They have to expect that there's a Sentry Ward down there, and Black just walks up trying to eat a Chen creep and just dies. Big vacuum combo coming out from Pasha as well, but this is just VP doing what VP does.
Yep. Push, win. That's basically what they're doing at the moment. And there has to be some kind of answer from Faceless. Like what do you even do at this point when you're Faceless? Your coordination's not right. You pull your heads in, you start talking to each other. What is the play to get Faceless back in this game?
Pick up a gem, make sure that they can at least clean up the wards, make sure there's no sentries when they go into those type of engagements, and go for these type of wraparound plays. They need to be able to catch the backline, but it's actually extremely hard for them to really do much into VP. They have to wait for them to get split up, because VP's lineup overall is just much stronger when they all get together. So they need to just try to split the map up now at this point. I think it's too hard for them to really fight into VP. I think they need to just go for the split with the Clinks and the Ember.
Is this just a visual bug for me? Is the Dragonlance not meant to be where it is?
No, he still has it in his... okay, now he finally moved it.
Okay, Earthspirit rolled into almost all of Virtus Pro.
Yeah.
It may have well have been. Like, that's a huge army of the Chen. So this is just kill after kill after kill.
Yeah, he finally he does put the Dragonlance now into his inventory. But it was actually sitting in his backpack for like 6 minutes or so.
Okay. That didn't make a lot of sense either.
Yeah, he's picking up his Desolator soon, but still, he's the most farmed hero on the side of Faceless, and I still don't feel like they're involving him at all. Yeah. But now, yeah, they just have to go for the split push. Jabs knows what he needs to do. He's going for it.
Oh, Ramses. With both Desolator, Armlet, and Echo Saber, Jabs can't survive that kind of damage.
Time to split him up. Go for the super late game, but don't think you really win the late game versus Lifestealer and Dragon Knight with Bloodlust.
Make it to late game.
Yeah.
If you actually go in with now VP, they go in, they grab Roshan, get the Aegis the Immortal. They just scanned up, so they know that someone's moving up to the top lane. But they can just win one small engagement. Then Faces won't have the strength. They don't even have the strength, I think, right now to contest Roshan. But Aegis the Immortal and then VP go high ground. That's probably going to be the timing of this game.
Yep, they've got like, massive amounts of auras coming out too. Solo's going for a Crimson Guard, which will completely counteract majority of Black's damage, even though he hasn't really been able to actually hit heroes here. But he does have the Desolator finished up now. He's got Death Pact ready too. So let's see if they're actually able to do something. It looks like they do want to go for this fight here.
Oh, this would be a nice moment if Faces can just get the right opening.
Jabs is in some trouble here, though.
Yeah, Spirit's up. The Dragon Tail Stun's going to be there with a Half Stomp. Ice tries to create the space even with the Stampede 4, but there's a multicast over onto XY. He'll go down. They've lost the Ember Spirit, and that was the first committal of the Aghanim Stampede as well from Ice.
Oh, he's an Aghanim, so wow.
Yeah,
okay.
He's managed to farm that, and now what are you doing, Ice? He's gone rogue.
He's trying to cut creep waves, but they already have a couple coming in for VP. Elder Dragon form used. This is where they can at least do a little bit of damage on the top. They force a buyback coming up from the Earth Spirit.
And without Ember up, the Chen army still hides under the cover of smoke.
Uh-oh, Ramses gets it and three-shotted.
That is just brutal. Like, what do you even do against this? Ice is trying to play the mind games. He's sending the isolated Centaur down the mid while keeping the other two grouped up like they're illusions. The amount of damage that's taking, now Virtus Pro have to have cottoned on to the fact that Ice is just, he's messing with him.
Yeah, Ice cutting the creep wave was actually pretty good there. Making sure that they can't go for it too much. The double buybacks forced as well. And now this could be where they group up and go for the Roche. Almost have the Aghanims on the Chen. He's halfway there. Guardian Greaves almost finished up on Pasha, and BKB for no one are probably the big ones, but here we go. Another Infest coming out. They have the Blink Dagger on Pasha, so he's going to be the vehicle for Ramses.
And his maneuverability is great as well. Blink, 4-staff, mech. Remember, we're only 24 minutes into this game at the moment.
And Faceless are the ones who go for the rush. This is not a good place to be. You're getting purged up.
That purge creep really messing around with the Centaur. The Stampede's going to go again. The wall is down. There's no back into it, however, but it creates a lot of space around Roshan. At the same time, maybe it doesn't, because Rubik was able to steal that wall. So Virtus Pro, they're actually fighting up against the strongest heroes on the map right now, which are the copies of themselves.
Yep. No one gets sent back to base, and he's going to port back in with his Elder Dragon form now online. BKB was expended.
Ice had to TP back. Everyone's having to go back. This is Roshan.
Yeah, very easy Rosh here now without the Stampede being online. It looks like they want to try. They're pinging it. They're like, we got to try to get there in time, but there's no way you get there in time.
They pull the creep wave up. Like, VP knows there's no way that the Faces contest this. They drag the creep wave up from mid. And here they come. VP straight down the mid. With a fresh Aegis the Immortal, they put in the hands of Ramsey, so the Lifestealer, who's already been very difficult to kill, becomes almost impossible to kill twice over.
Yeah, they don't expect no one to really be killable once he has BKB. So 15 seconds until that one's up. And Ramses is more of the damage dealer for towers here, even though it is a Dragon Knight. He has the the Desolator. So here we go. Creeps. Soon coming in.
Oh, they push in already. Finding the Earth Spirit. Can't get the instant stun, however. DK controlled by Telekinesis. Centaur trying to stampede away. At least this will negate off a little bit of the damage with a Sleight of Fist. No searing chains from Jabs. Still on cooldown, but Virtus Pro, they just tank it, and they keep pushing in. Black's doing as much damage as he can to Ramses. Remember, Ramsey can armor toggle a lot. That's off the
no
DK.
one.
That's a big one. Catch him out. Black finds the damage. Ramsey will drop too. They burn the Aegis to the Immortal. And Faceless, they're holding the high ground. The question is, can they do more? Ramsey telling you to scram up and down the Darkseer wall. We go for the crisscross as Jabs jumps in with the Spirits. They brought down 2 of the big cores. Pasha down all 3 cores down for Virtus Pro with a jump up and Searing Chains. Lil will take a fall as well. Faceless, they've taken 4 massive kills. And Jabs isn't finished yet. The Slider Fisted Searing Chains, the kick will follow through. And Solo will be the last part of the team wipe at the hands of Faceless.
I'm a bit speechless one moment. That was an excellent hold by them. Ice getting the opportunity to stun no one on the high ground, just out of position to get his, he couldn't get his BKB off pre-stun. And yeah, that Aghanim's Centaur already coming into play. They tried to go for the aggression onto Ice before the creep wave was in the base too, so they couldn't really hit the building. So overzealous coming out from VP and Faceless just capitalizing on it massively. How big of a swing is that? Let's take a look. Oh my god.
It is a decent one. Almost 10,000 advantage, and the swing will continue. A lot of that money that VP got early on that looked like a big advantage all came from the towers. It came from the pushing that they were successful at. Not just, like, it wasn't many kills. Like, it's still 9 to 12. The experience advantage was actually with Faceless most of the way, and now is well back in their favor. After VP have one horrendous push up high ground, they're the ones behind.
Yeah, they need to watch their positioning in these fights too, because the Lifestealer, if he gets silenced up, you can't get range up. That's exactly what happened there, and then he just gets bursted down from the massive magic damage potential that Faceless has, and the stolen wall. So Nuts, very good there, stealing the wall the second time, dropping it right on top of Ramses, but no one has to watch himself with his positioning. He has to be able to get that BKB off so he doesn't get bursted in that manner. Black
has his own BKB now. I thought
Bottom
he'd look for a little bit more damage, and yeah, no one's waiting for it. But Ice hasn't come in range of a creep wave until.
Yeah, the Shadow Blade's up in
Wait
7
for
seconds.
It. There we go. Blink, double edge.
5, 4. No one's waiting for it. 3, 2, 1. Will Ice get caught by this one? His TP's on cooldown, but he seems like he knows something's up.
He's got Force Off, Blink, and Stampede, so even if they do get close to him, like, this is not the easiest task in the world. Now, Shadowplay is not going to last long enough for them to find him. It's just staying in the trees, the Singaporean style.
They even used the scan to try to see Ice there before. Yep. Now the TP is up. Ice, the space, the amount of space he's making right now.
And no one's spending all of his time hunting with the Lifestealer, so they're going to find him. And now he'll see him, Stampede up, and remember, still got Forced Off. Pushes up through the tree line, goes for the hoof stomp for the rage. They will kill him off. But this is 5 heroes down for on the bottom lane for Virtus Pro to make this happen. And Ice creating more space for Jabs, rapidly approaching that Mjolnir. So going to start adding Lightning Shield into the fights. Black with his BKB, he knows he can go for a bigger item next, and he's looking in to picking up the full Bloodthorn if he can afford it.
Level 18 now for Jabs too, so the 900 damage burst potential with the triple remnants if he does opt to go for something like that is also massive too. On top of the Veil, they have Blink Dagger now on Earth Spirit for the follow-up initiation and counter initiation on top of Ice.
Even
so
have
Faceless
it on Nuts too.
Yeah, Faceless getting all the items that they need to take the fights into VP to get to those backlines to cause the initiations.
It seems ridiculous we're in this position. I was ready just to say, okay, hang the white flag on the door. Virtus Pro, that push was meant to work for him.
Top lane,
yeah,
there, no one.
Jabs is waiting. It's waiting a little bit longer. Ramses is in the neighborhood, but they blink forward with Nuts. That's your first control. Hand of God commits. Ramses will show himself and starts his own TP. They don't have anything that will cancel that. The Rage was protecting him. But Faceless, now they seem like a team with a purpose.
Yeah, VP got thwarted in their heavy committed push, and now this is where Faceless almost feels like they're kind of in the lead here.
Yep.
They're the ones to be able to do the aggressive plays, because VP has a lineup where you want to be sticking together nonstop. Faceless has a lineup where if people split up, they have the perfect catch and pick-off potential.
The hilarious thing is, too, like, you don't even have to commit the mass amount of Faceless to go around and even pick off all these shrines. Like, they're going to just for this one on the Dire Jungle. But Klinks is just so damn good at doing the split push. And Chen, this is not a good position for him. He just lost almost his entire army. He saved an Alpha Wolf, but Centaur got the rest of it. When you start losing control of your map, keeping a Chen army up is almost impossible.
Thankfully, he does have the Aghanims up, so he can get the Ancients. But yeah, that's definitely a painful position for a Chen to be put in after losing such a devastating high ground push timing.
Jab's going for a little bit more defense. He's going to go for Lincoln's as the next one.
That's good. It's only one real disable coming out from VP. Sure, they have the Fire Blast, but the Dragon Tail's the
big one.
The big one.
And if he can tank that up, then there's a lot more freedom. And you actually have to ask that question then too. Does VP have enough control during these fights? Like Klink sitting on the back lines, how do you even get to his position when he has that BKB to protect himself, can jump in and out of invis?
Yeah, it's not really what they wanted to do with their draft. They weren't looking to, we don't need to control these guys. We're just going for this death ball, 5-man, take towers. Don't really need to worry about anyone hitting us or anything.
Is that still strong enough to go with the strat then? Like, do you still keep the death ball dream alive?
They've probably got one more potential to go for the death ball before they have to try to look for some other type of recovery methods. But you're still playing with a Chen lineup, so it's, the massive amounts of auras as well as with the Darkseer. It's kind of like, it's what you drafted, so you have to just play to the best of its style.
And that's a pretty heavy commitment. If it goes wrong again, then this game is probably going to be, well, unrecoverable for the first time in this entire game. It took 32 minutes to do it, but Faceless lead the net worth graph.
Do they have a reveal for Black? They do see no one on the high ground there, so right away they bail.
And Ramses pops out of him too. And Ice, well, this seems like a familiar little story. Ice with a Centaur, pushing the top lane.
He's doing a great job of keeping the lanes forced. All the time, he's always showing his face. He just like, hoof stomp, double edge, hide in the trees. Hoof stomp, double edge, hide in the trees. Forcing a lot of reaction out of VP. Gives a lot of information as well for his team. When you're forcing these lanes and you know that, VP's going to try to go for these reacts. Pasha, bottom lane.
Yeah, he actually he blinked in to initiate on the Ember Spirit, but he has no other people with him, and Jams didn't bail. Jabs feels more than confident enough with his items already.
Yeah, he's buff. I mean, once he gets that Lincoln, he's going to be very difficult to bring down.
And it feels like VP are fighting the clock. They gotta find some way to get an opening on Faceless, get Faceless to start moving and reacting to the VP movement, because right now Faceless, they are free to walk wherever the hell they want. Black is the top net worth on the field. Actually surpassing Ramses.
Yeah, for the first time. It's going for that Orchid / Bloodthorn build up too. So massive damage potential and more silences to deal with the Lifestealer to get him off the rage. We have seen Ramses in the past go for a Manta build in order to deal with those type of silences, because he also has to deal with the Earth Spirit, so I wouldn't be too surprised if he goes for something like that. Bottom, Pasha, looks like he might be the one to get gone on here. He has blink up in 7 seconds. He does dodge the boulder though, and he'll be just alright.
Yep. They actually try and turn it around, so they send no one in. Surge forward. This time around, no one doesn't actually have any kind of help, as in Lifesteal's not infested inside of him, sees the Rubik, doesn't stun him. In fact, his pathing sends him straight back up. But there's another gank which they're looking for too, which is Ramses up the mid.
Really important what Faceless is doing with their wards right now. They have Obs Ward and Sentry, and then just sentries at all entrances of their jungle. So they're able to watch the movements, watch the Shadow Blade, pick off potential from the Dragon Knight at all times. Very important you do this versus these type of heroes, versus like bounty hunters, versus like Shadow Blade heroes, anything like that. It's really good that they're doing that to watch their entrances. So Gem now picked up from Nuts.
Yeah, he came looking for the Observer Ward, blinked himself up on top of the hillside, and then realized it's on the ground. It's going to send VP blind on the map when they look for the Observer Ward in the mid lane too.
Roche should be spawning within the next minute and a half or so. That'll probably be where the next big engagement happens.
But how do you even take that fight?
Super difficult now for VP. They even have Shivas now on the Centaur. I think Lincoln's should be almost finished up on, it's pretty much done on Jabs if he wants to purchase it. So no one now going for an aggressive play. Looks like they might be able to catch Ice here, but the projectile from the Dragon Tail will be enough to bring him down. He's incredibly tanky. He's got the Stampede.
It flies through, it hits on 3. And they're forced back with a Fade Bolt. They don't do anywhere near enough damage, plus the Stampede being triggered. So space was created for Faceless. But does Virtus.pro feel confident enough? They trigger the Dragon Form. Are they going to go for this again? And hope they don't have a repeat of last time? So Ramses first one up, starts the rage, wants the tower, rolling boulder, actually Abyssal Blaze, the Gem of True Sight, down on the deck for the moment, not picked up yet, the Hawk Stomp catching out to the back wall, might create just enough space, but in comes Ember Spirit, huge searing chains, holding him in position, Virtus.pro unwillingly stuck on the Faceless steps, but thanks to all the Darkseer illusions, they kill off Nuts on the back line, But that won't be enough. 3 heroes down for Virtus.pro. Jabs, Black, and Ice, so 3 cores of Faceless still remain alive and clean up the mess.
Ice is getting the perfect hook stomps pretty much every single time. They're unable to get to the back line to get to this Clinks either. They have nothing to really just jump him. They have no Blink Dagger to initiate for him. So, Faceless appear to be doing it.
They really do. And with this fight timing, like, Roshan is available, and they know he'll be up. It's the maximum spawn time for Roshan. A little bit of extra help by finding an Arcane Rune just sitting in the top river. Jabs will be happy to bowl that one up.
They have so many different distractions coming out from Faceless in the front lines with the Aghanim's Centaur, which is pretty much the most crucial thing, I think, in this game, just because of how tanky everybody is. Ice is able to just maneuver in and out of the fights, get multiple host stomps, and just perfect initiations onto Ramses. And Ramses is not very tanky. He's only got 12 armor, and then with 17 armor or so with the armlet turned on. So even though he has the 15 evasion on top of that, he gets brought down extremely quickly by Black now with his Clinks.
And there is a very big reason why a lot of teams ban against Ice with almost all 5 of their bans. Like, if it wasn't the Centaur, it could have been the Timber, it could have been almost any other ones. Like, but the Magnus was the one they chose because they saw that poison yesterday.
Yeah, Ice is owning this game, honestly. He's making all the plays. He's the only reason this game actually got to this point, just because of his initiations and counter initiations. And he's even going for a Refresher next on it. So double Stampede, double Shivas.
I saw this build when he played in Thailand a couple of months ago. And it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal, because you wonder, like, how do you do any kind of damage? You'd think, hey, well, VP, they've got sustain. That's terrific, but the follow-up's just not going to be enough. Black now going to rip into no one. He has to trigger up that BKB. There's still the Orchid on Black. So if anyone else wants to come over, like the Ogre, just gets Orchid silenced up, and they've lost both heroes with no buybacks. Spirit jump forward from Jabs. You'll get the Searing Chains over on Lil, so they're going to lose the Chen as well. The army just can't hold this off, and Jabs goes in deeper. Pasha will break free with his Greaves, but this is the assault. This could be Rax.
And no one going for kind of a solo play onto a 3,000 health Centaur with Shiva.
So. Ramses is walking in. He's got the Abyssal Blade, but what's he want to do? Kill off Black? Black's out of range of vision, but he'll just walk back in again. They get the Searing Chains off. The back from Pasha. It's a 5-man wall, but with the Magnetize turning on, Ramses will go down. Pasha as well. Faces have done it. It's GG. They may sure hold Virtus.pro when it looked like they held all the cards. They push back, and they claim the best of 1 and eliminate Virtus.pro from Dota Pit.
One mistake on the high ground from VP, just being, honestly, I think that they just got a little bit too over-aggressive. They didn't even have their creep wave coming in. They go for the initiation onto Ice. Ice just pops the Stampede. He's unkillable there, and they get a beautiful turnaround from everybody. Rage wears off. They instantly get the jump in from Ice afterwards to counter-initiate onto the Lifestealer, and yeah, it's just too hard for them to get into the backlines to get onto that Clinks at that point. So very good job by Faceless, somehow bringing it back when we thought it was looking to be just a clear VP, death ball lineup. They just able to stall it out just long enough, and with some beautiful initiations from Ice. Ice just massive MVP in this game for sure.
Man, I love him, but I also think the Unsung Heroes was nuts with that Darkseer wall when VP pushed up that first time. The fact he not only stole it once, like you have it again that second time around when the push came. Virtus.pro, real issues, and they find themselves knocked out of the tournament a little bit early. Congratulations to Faceless. They'll get to play up in the next game, but stay tuned. We'll be back after the break for our more best of ones. We've got 2 more teams to eliminate before that winners bracket final, so don't go anywhere.
Gaming Bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans.
Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match.
Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.